a long-range composition. In that game, it was Team Flash with the short-range comp, and they managed to get enough of the lead that they could snowball it. Cerberus looking for maybe some shenanigans over on the bottom side of the map.
Oh, this is awesome. Oh, please. Please give me the wraparound. Do it.
Oh, no.
Do it!
Carty yes! Trying to get caught down, and the follow-up from Cerberus flashes away, and it is first blood for Pun's Jax.
Okay. A big win here coming out for the side of Cerberus. Actually, probably would have been more. I have to give Zin a ridiculous amount of props. It was a Q coming through from Rano P that actually tagged one of the turrets that was placed down, I think, a second beforehand. And if that had tagged on a Style, they probably kill Style as well. So Style, or at least had to burn his heal, something like that. So very, very little burnt here. It was just the flash of Pun, and Pun already has the Q. So you're going to be out of most situations relatively freely. A nice way to kick off the game here from Cerberus, as now your top laner is in a great position. And this was so awesome. Like, okay, they saw two. They kind of saw like this little engage. Really? They got. We're not serious right now, right? They saw three.
Did they realize it was a third different person, or did
they had four people shown, and two of them were shown walking to the left? How do you fall victim to that? That was what I was talking about with the Q. The Q right there was what blocked and made sure that Style wasn't going to get kind of run afterwards. That was so bad. Like, how did... Okay, now Artemis is dying.
Forced to flash away, but look, GAM have used all of their suns in the bottom lane. Ronopi still has a flash and ignite, but it will force Artemis to recall, reset. Same for Ronopi, and GAM can maybe try to get a bit of a freeze going.
Yeah, again, Xin seems to be playing pretty well. The Heimerdinger, especially at the early levels, can be very, very rough to deal with in the wrong circumstance. So I can appreciate that Style and Xin taking this really, really abuse case kind of bot lane with their range advantage and using it as fast as possible. Rano P goes for Comet, isn't going, also goes for Q at level 1, so you know that there's no defense against it. So Artemis getting kind of thrown to the wolves a bit at the beginning of this laning phase. Gets a bit back for GAM, that's quite nice.
And also, let's not forget, Pun had a really good Game 2 on Jax. Now he's heading into Game 2 with an item advantage because he has boots. And Drakthar, again, counter-jungling Levi as he has been trying to do all series long. But is Pun going to have enough time? Has a counter-strike. They're going to land the CC onto Levi. Kiaya can't really follow up. Has stacks of Everfrost landing on top. Levi gets a kill onto Pun. Surely Drakthar gets a kill back.
No way!
Levi picks up the double kill, and it is the exact opposite of Game 2.
Within a single auto attack of his life 2 times in a row, somehow Levi pulls both right there. I am so astonished that this was going to happen. It was so close. They were trying to find Kiaya. It was a nice flash from Kiaya. The CC layering was not bad here. This is where I got confused, because this right here, he got the empowered W! How did he not die to that?
Oh my god, and then the Triumph kicks in, or is it
Grace,
whatever, but... I mean, you've got to feel bad if you're Drakthar and Pun.
Yeah, especially Pun. Again, if you're Drakthar, the Triumph, ruins it, and it's like, okay, I get it, right? Conqueror stacked, the Wukong's doing fine, at that point, you're just getting out-sustained, you're not winning that fight. I would have been pissed if I were Pun, and I'm sitting here with a longsword, and I have an empowered auto attack with the W, and it doesn't kill him from 100 health. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. That had execute written all over it. He had to be down to maybe single-digit health right there, because his health bar was covered up by Pun's health bar. I do not know how he lived that. It's really astonishing that came through. So very unfortunate, but GAM does climb back in with a solid gank. Once again, it's Levi, his early game presence, making himself known, making sure Cerberus doesn't get to sit here and scale.
Now, fortunately for Cerberus, it wasn't first blood. So, to be honest, it's not as bad as what GAM had to deal with in Game 2 when it was Drakthar who essentially did the same thing he did just now, but was able to get 2 kills in the mid lane for Yado.
Yeah, the other thing is that it's not as bad for Cerberus to deal with on one hand because of that. The other thing is that Pun also burnt the flash of Kiaya and has kind of been crushing Kiaya in the laning phase so far, which means that Pun could, in theory, generate some very kind of individualistic pressure. As again, his Jax expertise is kind of ridiculous comparative to a lot of the other Jaxes that we've seen. I don't think we've seen many other Jaxes in the VCS. It's mostly been Pun playing the champion, and he's been a masterclass on it. So this is a very risky thing that the Gnar could end up suffering a bit for the next few minutes while the flash is down.
I'm trying to think which other top laners in the VCS tend to play Jax. I almost want to say Nagia. The only other one I can think of with a few Jax games.
He has a tendency to vibe check. I think Coded does as well. So the Coded is the other really big Jax player that we have. So
thing is, I never think of Coded as a Jax player because I just always remember that one split where we've got action in the mid lane. Yado and Karti trading, both of them level 6. Here comes Draxthar. He's ruining the 1v1 agreement. Karti though running for his life, able to get out to safety, and considering the rest of GAM are in the river, Draxthar cannot aggress any further.
Yeah. Okay. Again, Draxthar feels really quiet. That top lane gank, that gank right there, not working out either. Not able to find Katakati fast enough, and the dragon having gone down. It's just earlier pressure that's coming through from Levi that is unresponded to by the Sejuani at the beginning of the game. It's a difficult position to find yourself in. Not down completely. 500 gold is 500 gold. It's not that crazy to begin the game. But again, if Levi continues this kind of control of the map, could be really, really awful for Cerberus. We saw how that happened in game number 1. Also, notably, like 6 of our top laners have played the Jax, including 3 games from Kiaya. So Kiaya also plays the hell out of the champion, just as an FYI.
I feel like Kiaya just plays everything. He's just been...
Kiaya plays everything. You're right. Like, in terms of people who are famous for it, again, it was Pun, and it was like, I would say Coded is number 2, at least before the rework. Yeah. Coded was like a super big Jax player, but now everybody plays it because it's just a strong champion.
Yeah. Well, a 400 goal lead for the side of GAM, not a big lead. Also, I'm just having a look on the top side of the map, on the mini-map. You can see Draxthar working his way up, sneaking into that lane brush, and going to give a present to Kiaya's Gnar, I'm sure.
Still down Flash. This is the right place to play. If you try to get Pun ahead in the game like this, you can get your front line up a little bit better. You can try to crack some extra plates. Looks like they kind of got found out, unfortunately, and are not able to make the gank work. So it's another wasted bit of kind of play from Draxthar, who just has not been able to make anything stick so far. Bottom lane is at least not disastrous, which is important. Notably, again, the Zeri is able to get out of the lane phase pretty decently so far. They should be able to kind of redeploy after this and feel okay about where they're at inside of the game. So Artemis, still this kind of later scaling win condition that has not been shut down in the game yet. So you do have that for Cerberus. You got that going for you. Yado also feeling fine in the game. I know he died, but again, the Silas still has a bunch of ultimates that are going to be really useful when the fighting starts off. So. Oh, Yado didn't. Oh, my apology. Yado almost died. He and yes. Kadi traded a bunch of health earlier. For some reason, I thought he died, but he did not. So, my bad.
To be honest, it felt like both of them should have died in that trade. It got so close. I do also hate Yado, so I just imagine that he died. I guess in my head. You know what happened to Caster's professionalism? Like, oh yeah, we're completely unbiased. Dude, I don't actually hate Yado, but I'll be biased. Like, that's fine. I'll play that game. That's all right with me. Yeah, you know, you've got to hate Yado, so I guess I have to hate Karti now. Those are not mutually exclusive events. I can hate both of them equally. Oh, you hate both of them equally. I can. Fair enough. If I wanted to, I could. There's nothing wrong with that. That was a neat little trick using the extra turrets. Xin kind of roams up, throws 2 turrets down around the Rift Herald, and then just bounces back to bottom lane to be there a little bit quicker for the defense. It does still force style off of a wave. And in fact, again, I always am a little bit curious about these trades, because if it ends up being 2 full plates over to Artemis, it's 2 full plates to your ADC, guaranteed, to, at best, the jungler getting 2 full plates, maybe a full tower if you're able to set it up properly, but again, it doesn't always get you anything more than just the guaranteed, well, it's not even guaranteed 2 plates anymore, depending on what turret plates are actually taken, so I don't know, I feel like I take that trade all day if I'm Cerberus, but... Jai getting a really nice trade on to Pun on the back end of Pun's engagement, as we got a fight on the top side river. And it is Levi getting a kill with some assistance from Karti. Now Draxthar is on the run, flashes over the wall, and Levi will follow suit. Just trying to get cute right there, going over top of the Raptor wall, and gets flashed on afterwards. As that say, again, the Wukong-Orianna combination, you know the ball delivery is going to be strong, and now with Wukong being kind of fed inside of this game, it sets up so much better for it. This is Yado's fault. Yado, you are a troll, my man. Like, I mean, come on. He thought Draxthar's nearby. He thought he had the damage or something. He doesn't have it completed. He's got Catalyst right now. He's jumping. What Levi does, though. Like, you're gonna fight against the Draxthar might have a completed item. All I know is that Levi had components, and like Wukong is a really good duelist at the beginning of the game. You don't have the damage on Yado. You're down half a health bar. I'm convinced he was trying to steal the Scuttle Crab, and when it got taken, he just wasn't ready for it to not be there, and so he accidentally took like abscond without realizing it. Kia using the ult just to push a pun away, but GAM extending their lead now, 4 kills to 1, a 2,000 gold advantage. And remember, in game 2, Cerberus got, I'm not going to say a lucky lead, but they got a fortunate lead, and they were able to use that very well. But GAM did a very good job at being able to effectively neutralize their deficit for quite a large portion of the game.
But they did. Well, neutralize their deficit is one word for it. Another word for it is cannot find a way to actually make anything happen. That's probably the verbiage I would use specifically, because GAM, if they tried to team fight, they would be walking directly into the meat grinder that was Artemis's Aphelios. In this game, there's no Aphelios, and instead it's Zeri, and she's not disgustingly fed. She's fine. Like, she's right on the power curve. I think with most of the other members of the team, farming about is you would expect them to, and no more. Not really anything else crazy. So that is a decent number of plates. That is just the 2 plates, though, just as I'd said earlier. So it is a match of what they were able to get on the bottom side. But that does buy them second dragon of the game, which is the first time that either team has actually held the first 2 dragons over the series. I think every other time we split the first 2 dragons, which has made like the stacking game quite a bit more difficult for both sides. But in this one, first time that we've actually seen both dragons go to one side. So now GAM are the ones pressuring with this early game control.
Might have a little skirmish here in the bottom side river. Kati is here. It's just trying to position the Orianna ball. Yado is on a potential flank, spotted out by a control ward. Both ADCs have completed their first item, but Artemis's first item is significantly more impactful than Styles Yomu's Ghost Blade.
I mean, the additional poke is going to feel really rough for Artemis and for anybody that's not really building armor, which is nobody right now on the side of Cerberus. So that is at least one thing. The additional move speed means you can set up plays with Chains of Corruption a little bit easier. For Artemis, you're not going to get one shot, which is perhaps the one thing, is that the shield bow is going to prevent you from just dying outright to like a WQ coming out. Oh, there we go.
Chains of Corruption come through. So much damage with the empowered W from Zin, flashing forward, drops down the ignite. Rod OP will fall, and there is nothing Cerberus can do in return.
Yeah, there's no shield bow on Karma, unfortunately, so there's no defensive shield to actually be utilized right there, except their own, the Ignite. In a perfectly kind of chained version of CC, which I can really appreciate, because it was style hitting a Chains of Corruption from a good distance away without having to burn flash. You'll see Chains of Corruption from a decent distance, WQ, you knock her down to half health, and then the empowered W coming out from the Heimerdinger as well, with the flash ignite from Zin just to clean things up. This is what the bot lane's supposed to be doing. This is what the Heimer Varus is really intended for, is just to be this super aggressive, super annoying combination that like you can definitely all in on if you're able to hit just a little bit of CC, especially on this first item spike. That's really big, is scrapping in the top lane.
Yeah, and Kia is doing all right. There's a big minion wave. Pun is now very low. Sidesteps the boulder toss beautifully. One more auto. That's enough. Glacial Prison comes through. Dragthar will be able to get Kia as he tries to hop to safety. A 1-for-1 in the top lane, but Kia will take it.
It's just not enough, though. Like, Cerberus, it does not matter if you end up trading a kill Sejuani for Gnar. Like, what does that benefit you for having? Like, right now, Drakthar is down 20 minions, and he's down a ridiculous amount, both in the jungle item and just in general to Levi, because Levi has picked up 4 kills in this game. You've done nothing to slow down the Orianna scaling. The bot lane, now you've got Rylai's on Heimerdinger, which means it's even harder for these melee champions to engage into a 5-on-5 around a neutral objective. So if you wanted to fight like Rift Herald, if you wanted to fight next Dragon, I don't even know that Cerberus would be able to do that because they just don't have the damage yet. I know Rod of Ages got completed. So they're trying plays like this, and they're just not going right? Even though Pun dodges the rock, which I thought was going to be a really big difference maker, it's just the hyper proc. Like, the hyper proc absolutely wins the situation. And then was Drakthar wrapping around ahead of time? I feel like I remember Drakthar running down the river when that play started instead of running directly at Kiaya. So I don't know if that was the right decision either.
The Arctic assaulted over the river wall to get into position behind the tower, and I think was just waiting for Pun to get the wave to crash on the tower, which didn't really happen.
Yeah, and then Pun jumped in. So it's like, again, is it a miscommunication? Is it like Drakthar not understanding what to do? Is it Pun not understanding what to do? It's such a weird thing. This is similar to what happened in game number 1, where it just feels like, again, they're just a little bit not coordinated the way that they need to be making plays like this happen.
And now Star is going to be getting another tower. I think that maybe Pun just thought he could safely trade on Kiaya just to get him chunked down quite low and then go for another trade afterwards. And then got surprised by Mega Gnar stats.
I love that. And they're trying to set up just a defense of this top side, so Zin had like 2 turrets down just to be an absolute menace to anybody who tried to walk in. So I can appreciate that from Zin. They can't really recapture control of the Tribe Rush. They did get Rift Herald too. Again, Levi is way too strong for his own good in this game. That tower's just dead. They don't even have to pop the Rift Herald for it. This is domination from GAM once again, similar to what happened in game number 1. They're just kind of controlling everything, a lot of it off the back of Levi's really crazy pressure. And there have been a couple of coin flip plays that have not gone the way of Cerberus, but again, it is, to me, it's bad decision making this game. A couple of times they've kind of just made the wrong decision, and it's cost them a bit. We'll see if they can clean it up, because Artemis is still scaling. Artemis is not behind and is on a champion that I think has a lot better access than what Kaiser did in game number 1. So there's always the shot you could take this to team fighting and try to flip it like that. But Cerberus has a long way to go until that comes up.
And now Cerberus have to try to figure out a way to get back in this game. They're nearly 5,000 goal behind at 16 minutes. This is a huge advantage for GAM. And we've already talked about the scaling of this Orianna that has been unchecked. Rift Herald now being dropped in the mid lane as GAM are looking for the final one of Cerberus's outer towers.
Yeah, trying to crack open this. It would break open Kadi for the rest of the map. It would maybe allow quite a bit of pushing power to set up for Wukong, and then these big kind of fight angles that you're looking for. Here we go.
Lockdown, lots of damage, and shutdown is style, but can Cerberus win the rest of this fight? Levi dashing forward with the Cyclone. Yado will go golden to stay alive. The second part of the Cyclone fight is the knockup. He's shielded by the Karma to stay alive. It is just the 1%. Rek'Sai jumps forward, tries to find the kill on Tikati, who just survives with a sliver of health. A 1-for-1 overall, and as a result of it, no Drakthar, no jungler, no smite. GAM are going to get their third Drake of the game.
Artemis has enough health to feel confident. They've got a TP coming in as well. It's a TP on both sides, actually. Oh!
What can Pun do? Counter-Strike has already been used, trying to dash his way out to safety. Kiaya is on the hunt, getting those hyper procs. Pun is just going to die. Yado is on the flank, trying to force GAM out of the river, but Ron OP is low. Artemis is on half health. Yado is the only healthy member left of Cerberus, and now Style is back alive, making his way down towards the river, and Cerberus are just going to have to peace out and hand this Drake over to GAM.
This was just, it feels like it's so close for Cerberus to be able to overtake, but GAM is just unrelenting. It's a situation where, like, Levi is still really high health. Levi is not really pressed in the slightest to accomplish anything. Oh, Yado.
Caught by the Gnar ultimate, caught by the Gnar rock. Levi on the hunt. Yado is going to get the blast cone right into the waiting arms of Style and Zane. There is no way out for this silence. There's a fair bit of damage onto Levi, but nowhere near enough.
It's just, again, Cerberus is so close, they almost break it. GAM, they find this massive extended play that just, it's so broken from Cerberus in terms of call, in terms of attention that they need to be paying. And I'm lost, man. I'm lost, Milky. You have to explain it to me. If we get a replay here, I'll go through as much of it as I possibly can to be like, okay, why exactly did this come through? And I'll see if you can answer questions for me. Because Cerberus, again, I cannot reiterate this enough. It feels like they could have won this situation super heavily. 100%. It feels like they easily could have walked out of this with a massive win. And they just made bad decision after bad decision. And again, just hand it back to GAM. They're like, oh, we're going to win this situation? What if we just lose instead? What if we just decide to make the wrong calls? They're even going to lose mid tower off the back of this. They're ready to team fight. Oh, my goodness.
And that's another kill. This time it's Ron OP for League. I mean, look, Rebel, it comes down to what we said before. Ron OP is playing a ranged champion.
True. I mean, in fairness, Thresh was ranged in the last game too, so...
Thresh is borderline. Thresh is a weird one.
Thresh is borderline. He's like a half and half, yeah. They had to change the whole Relic Shield design item for specifically that type of champion because people were pissed about it. Good times.
I still do. It was always weird, like... Even a few months ago, I was playing and you just hit a minion thinking, oh, it's going to die. And then it doesn't die. And then your ADC starts flaming you about how you didn't get cannon with your Relic Shield.
You have that problem? It still executes, my man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know, but it's weird. It did some weird things until they changed it like a couple of weeks back.
It sounds like a skill diff.
It is a skill diff. I've not played a lot of League lately. I'm absolutely atrocious now. GAM, though, are not atrocious. They're doing very, very well. 6k gold up, looking to go 4-0 in the split. And a dominant start, really, as well. Exactly what they would need.
And I can appreciate really heavily that, like, while Levi is having an amazing day, to me, Zin has also had a couple of good performances. This Heimer, especially, like, this being banned away from him, I was like, okay, this is, like, I would not expect a ton of VCS Sports to have this in the repertoire. Zin is crushing with this. Like, this is clamping down one of the best ADCs in the entire league. Rano P has been suffering at the hands of the Heimerdinger for the entirety of the laning phase. It makes it difficult for them to team fight. Like, this pick was so deflating to Cerberus. Because like you think of Cerberus and it's like they're a very standard style of team. They want somebody big and bulky to go kind of start a team fight for them. They're going to let Artemis play a front to back style. And if you're playing with like 3 melee champions and they're like, oh, well, let's just pick Heimerdinger. What are you supposed to do? Like, how do you set up a fight? Like, you can't do it. It's not going to happen. Especially when you're making bad calls, like you're jumping in and flashing as Drakthar, trying to find a kill onto one member and trading your life away when Dragon is available. Like stuff like that just is not fly for Cerberus. It's little stuff that they're just throwing away needlessly to GAM that gave so much of an advantage, and GAM just perfectly capturing and utilizing it to the best of their abilities.
One more Drake needed for GAM. They've got a Baron as well. Cerberus are up against the ropes. And Levi already looking at potential flank angles. Cerberus are going to have to try to fight this, otherwise they're going to have to deal with 5 members of GAM with Baron buff. Yado's on one side, teleport coming through. GAM are going to turn. Xin is low. This might be the opportunity for Cerberus to find a fight. Drakthar has been chunked down and will surely fall. 1 kill going over to the side of GAM, and Levi is still going strong. Pun left on his lonesome, and GAM, despite having a health bar deficit, they find 4 kills for absolutely diddly squat. They'll take the Baron as well, and Cerberus will be left with their heads in their hands.
They gave up a dive. That was the big problem right there. You see Levi and Kiaya making into the backline, kill off Artemis. There's nobody to play front to back at that point. There's nobody to actually put out damage because there's just not enough in Pun, not enough in Yado. It looked so good at the beginning. I was really, really worried for GAM. I was like, wow, 3 of your members are basically half health to start this fight. That is not a good look. It did not matter in the slightest. GAM does not have to do anything in order to finish this. Now, Baron buff is theirs. They'll just walk right to Dragon, grab up the Mountain Soul. There's probably no winning this game if Cerberus. Like, you're praying for a big team fight to try to get something back. I want to watch exactly how this happened because, like, Levi's in the midst of everything. Look at this. Yeah, Kadi's half health, Zin's half health. They find a decent ultimate onto Levi. It's Kiaya. Kiaya does all of the damage in this one. Look at this. Yeah, Artemis, he can't step forward. If Artemis is able to slide and kind of get behind style, and then that's how this fight kind of plays out, might actually be a winning fight. Artemis gets dove so quickly that there's just no damage to be put out. That's GAM. That's understanding your threats. That's understanding like where you need to be on the map. This game has been so good from GAM that they deserve to win the series off the back foot. Like, they have played really well across the board. Every single player, every single fight, they have looked like the better team.
I think also as well, Drakthar's Glacial Prison landed onto Levi's clone, so Levi timing that warrior tricks her absolutely perfectly. Kiaya somewhat caught out, just hops over a wall and out to safety. Cerberus are just trying to get a little bit of gold, trying to pick up this objective bounty, being the top lane outer tower. And now going back onto Kiaya, but Kiaya just doesn't care. He's just going to 1v2 because he knows his team are just going to play the 4v3 on the other side of the map, and he's stopping Drakthar from backing, and he's just winning the 1v2 as well.
Yeah, okay, now he's going to get stuck. Okay, all right. What do you got, Kai?
Goes
okay,
golden,
that makes sense.
picture in picture.
Yeah.
Can he survive? Surely he's going to die, but even if Kiaya does die, this is going to be a bot lane inhibitor tower falling, both inhibitors as well. He's on no health.
He just killed Drakthar.
Oh my god, Kiaya, calm down.
Yeah, Kiaya gets some MVP voting for that play on its own, because that was just absolutely ridiculous. But the game's over. Like, even if these two were able to kill him, I think 5 seconds ago, the game probably is just over. There's no way they're fighting this. And you can't even engage, because again, look at this. The Mega Turret's thrown down by Xin. Game's over.
Well, GAM will dismantle Cerberus in games 1 and 3 and continue their perfect start to VCS Spring 2023 as they go 4-0 at the top of the standings.